Good morning, everyone. Happy Friday. Welcome to Open Office Hours. I am Crystal Hinkle. I'm part of the team here at Syncro. I will let the ladies introduce themselves as well.
Hi, everybody. I'm Tatiana. Welcome back, everyone who's been here before, and everyone who's new. Welcome as well. We're happy to have you guys here. Super excited for open office hours today.
Hi everyone, I'm Brandy, also part of the team here at Syncro. Really excited to see you guys today.
Thank you so much for everyone that's hanging out with us today. So for those of you that have been with us before, thank you so much. We love when you come back every week. It's awesome. It's fun. We enjoy doing this. For those of you that have never attended open office hours, I'll give you kind of like the of what this looks like. So really, there's not a ton of structure here. The main purpose is to be able to answer your questions as you're diving into the software, or maybe you've been using the software for quite some time. Whatever questions you have throughout the week, jot those down. Join us in open office hours, ask those questions, because it's likely that most other people in the room have either had those questions or still have those questions that you're wondering about. So we utilize the Q&A. I realized I didn't turn the chat off, which, oh, anyways, everyone's just saying hello. And yeah, I know everyone's all over the place, so different time zones. These are recorded, and we do post these on our YouTube channel once they're done. So if you do get pulled away or fall asleep, depending on where you're at, we do record these, and you can watch these again. So yes, if you don't mind, any questions that you have for us to actually address and answer with a screen share, please just drop those into the Q&A. That's the easiest place for us to manage. And then other than that, whatever questions, it's just fair game. Let me pop out my Q&A. I think people are being quiet this morning already. And the other thing that I thought would be kind of cool, and I'll just maybe just announce this now, and I might say it again at the end. What we'd like to do is start doing maybe a weekly deep dive. So if there is something that you guys are like, hey, could we just spend a little bit more than because most of the time we have so many questions that we just respond to that specific question, we show you the answer, and then we kind of move on. If there are specific features that you would like one of our product experts, Brandy or Tatiana or myself, to just dive into and spend 5 to 10 minutes doing, we want to do that each week. So we might highlight a specific module or a feature. So I'm going to be making notes. If you think of anything that you would like us to maybe take a little bit more time on next week, please let us know, or in the following weeks, we'd like to start doing that.
Yes, and I see a question in here from Derek. So Derek, I'm also going to pop open, Derek's asking, we're in our trial period, we're wondering if there's an ability to have an email to ticket creation. So there absolutely is, and I'm just gonna share my screen real quickly. I will also, one thing I'm gonna try to do today is, as we talk about these different things, I'm gonna look up the KBs and also drop those in the link to you guys, or in the chat box for you guys. What you're gonna wanna do is you're gonna want to set up your email. So if you go into more in the admin section, if I go down all the way down to the bottom to mailboxes, you can set up your mailbox here. When you go in to edit a mailbox, once you have this set up, and don't worry, the KB will walk you through that, you can come here and you can select automatically create tickets from emails to this inbox. And then you can choose always, never, or only for existing customers. So therefore, if you were receiving an email from someone who was not a customer, it is going to be a lead for you. It wouldn't create a new ticket. But you could just come here and select always. You can also assign some different ticket types. You can also select if you want to send a lead autoresponder or enable after hours responders too. And then while we're here, I will just real quickly also show, I know we talk about this quite often, but I think it gets lost. is here in the customer section. If you just go over to edit the customer, and then you also toggle over to custom fields, email domains is automatically going to be pre-populated for you guys. If you'll add a domain in here, it's going to automatically create a contact under this particular customer for you, and it would create a ticket. Whereas if you didn't have it in here and you had that selection in your mailbox to only create tickets for customers, it would not create a ticket for them. So I hope that helps.
Awesome, thank you. I was going to address a couple things from Paco, and he's saying, "Good morning, ladies." Which, good morning. I emailed inbox, whatever. It auto CCs to the ticket. Is there a setting to change this? So you're saying you forward it in so it automatically puts you as a CC. I don't think that that's a setting. That's just kind of like back-end settings. Is that correct? I'm fairly certain that's just back-end settings. I don't think there's a setting you're missing. So I think it would be a feature request if you didn't want it to do that. And then second, awesome. I'm glad that you like the idea of a deep dive, because I think it could be really valuable. So first suggestions is contracts. And so I wrote that down. So absolutely keep those ideas coming. We appreciate that.
Super helpful. Thank you, Crystal. Next question here is from Dalton. He says, "Good morning. I'm using Syncro in a business and all employees are set up as contacts under a single customer. Wondering what the best way to limit the link in the tickets that shows the online profile to just show their tickets and that of their direct reports." So I'll share my screen here. We do have some MSPs or some people that are using Syncro MSP as an internal IT department. So welcome to those of you who are. There's definitely a couple adjustments that people go through, but functionality of monitoring your endpoints is super helpful. Even for internal IT departments, you kind of can just restrict which parts don't apply to you, and we can kind of go, that's a whole separate conversation. But what he's asking about today is on when you have a customer listed here, he has people listed as contacts, you can control who has access to which parts of the customer portal. So how you can access the admin version of the customer portal is just clicking this link here. And this is usually where they would be able to see their account overview, all open tickets, all open invoices. This is where you build estimates on your side. This PDF is completely customizable by you guys. You can make it look and feel exactly the way you want it to. Put your own logo in there, of course, and then they can approve decline estimates, see which endpoints you're managing for them, as well as documentation. So back to the original question, he has everybody in his company listed as contacts. And so at that point, you can control who has access to which parts of Syncro. If you go to the admin section and then go under the customers to the portal user permission groups. This is the first step that I would recommend to take, just because you can set different levels of access to that customer portal. So I would build that first and then go back to the customer profile here. And once you have those contacts in there, you can create them as portal users. So if you scroll down on that same customer page, you can then, let me move our faces out of the way here. You can then create a new customer portal user, select which contact, and then if you use this arrow here, you can then assign which portal user permission group they're going to be part of and what level of access. So again, in these level of settings, you can choose, again, if I edit one of these, you'll see if you want them to only see their own tickets, you have the option to enable that and kind of work through the different available settings in here. So hopefully that helps. I'll go ahead and drop this knowledge base article on how to set up the password for the customer portal and assign those portal users as well. I love that suggestion, Brandy. That's it, guys. Hopefully that helps.
Yes. Let's see. Okay, I have a question about, we'd like to spend some time on automation. So I just real quickly will go over a couple things here on automations for you guys. So if I come in here, I'm just going to go to my assets in RMM. And then I'm going to go to actions and automated remediations. I'm going to show a couple things here just to show that you can take this full circle. RMM alerts can create tickets. So I can come in here, I can set up my conditions. You can be very broad or very granular, and I'll just say the ticket category, or excuse me, the condition is low hard drive space. If you guys want, you can say it's a certain operating system. Maybe they have your platinum policy that includes all the things, and they've got low hard drive space. You can convert this into a ticket. If you want to choose a particular status or custom field type, so example, I'll just put emergency ticket. I don't know that this is an emergency, but I'm also able to run a script, and I can go ahead and choose to clean temp files. You could also email the customer. You can also clear the alert. You can use this. We get a lot of questions about, can you close the ticket as well? So if you do select a specific custom field type or ticket type, you can go into your ticket automations and say, okay, my condition is a certain ticket type, is emergency ticket, because that's what I had selected over here. And then I could just say, let's change the status to resolved. Oops, not invoiced. So that's one way that you can just take it full circle. And then remember, if you were using our PowerShell module to log 30 minutes of time in a ticket, then you could also add that string of text to any of your scripts. Hopefully that helps.
Awesome. I'm just going to grab a couple of these really quick ones because I think I've got a couple feature requests in here. So one is on the Android app, when I get a notification, I tap to open, I get sent to the customer screen instead of whatever the notification is. It would be convenient if it jumped to whatever the notification is about. Yes, and this and then specifically with ticket notifications. I've heard this requested. I know that we're continuing to make modifications and updates to that mobile app. What we did do just recently is the RMM alerts, and the RMM alerts do link straight to the alert, which is nice and super convenient. But I know what you're talking about with ticket notifications, and I will definitely pass that on to the team. While I'm just speaking of feature requests, I think the other one was from John. Can the login screen default the cursor to the email field? It would be easy to do and save a few seconds every time we log in. Are you meaning when you're logging in initially to the app? Is that, am I missing anything, or is that what you're asking for? Because yeah, I agree. I could definitely pass that along. Last one I'll grab right now, and then I'll hand it over to Tatiana for Garrett's question. But the last one is customer view. Can I modify the view to show the assigned assets behind? So that one's huge. People want to move assets all over the place. Some people want the assets like front and center. Some of them don't even want them. So yeah, being able to completely modify that page is definitely something that we're looking into.
Awesome. Okay. I have a question here from Garrett that I'm actually going to come back to because I'm asking our tech expert a couple questions on that one. But the one right below that is from Jason, and he says, when creating a new script, there is an import file type. What is that for? How do we use it? So really good question. I'll show you guys what he's talking about. If you go over, I'll share my screen. If you go over to our scripting section and you're adding a new script, or you're editing any script that you've imported from our community script library. Again, thank you to everyone who submits those. If scripting is not your thing, please do utilize our community script library. There's a ton of really powerful scripts in there that I personally hear and see people talk about on the Facebook group. So specific to the file types in his question, here's when you select the file type in here, here's the import one. As far as I know, this is a script language from N-Central, and that's the one that you can use there. So hopefully that helps answer your question.
Yep, awesome. Thank you for grabbing that one. Mm-hmm. I was gonna answer this one from Derek. We would like the default selection on time as being billable in a ticket. So yeah, you absolutely can do that. So let me just share my screen real quick here. I'm gonna be on the presentation, so just bear with me for a second. I'll get rid of that and over to here. So what the question is on a ticket when you're tracking time, no matter how you're doing that, I'm just going to go into a ticket. If you're using like this labor log is actually running right now. So anyways, when I stop it, it either you can have it default to not charge, or you can have it default to charge. So the way that you manipulate that is you just head over to your admin section, and it's going to be under ticket settings, so ticket preferences, and then it's going to be additional settings here, and then it's going to be remind me where it is. Ticket timer, charge time by default. So instead of you having to actually hit charge time in the ticket, this will automatically make it a billable time entry. So hopefully that helps.
Mhm. I got a response for Garrett's question here. The question was, I have inventory marked to maintain stock with zero inventory available, but when an estimate is approved or invoiced, many items aren't showing as pending order. I can't figure out why it's different, because between inventory items, is there a specific flag or requirement for this to work 100%? I got a response from tech support team that says they're asking for you to create a ticket, so that since there's a couple different factors and things going on that could affect this, so hopefully I know that they will be able to answer your question for you and help troubleshoot and look into things for you further. And then I'll pick up this one from Evan here as well. He says, you may have addressed this with Paco's question, but is there a best practice for creating tickets for customers who email a technician directly? Is there a way to forward it to Syncro and have it tie into the correct customer? So I'll show you how you can set that up. This is kind of just the first thing to come in mind. So ladies, if you can think of a different version, please do chime in. So in Syncro, if you go over to your admin section and you scroll all the way down to the bottom, this is where you have access to your mailboxes and email roles. So if you wanted to, I have my mailboxes open here. You could set up as many inbound email mailboxes as you need. So if you, for some reason, you have like a network engineer and they have their own email address that customers are emailing that person directly instead of just help@yourcompany.com, you could set a mailbox for them, an inbound email address for them. And so you can say, I want to always create tickets from emails received to this mailbox. And then again, it would say, their name at yourcompany.com, or however you want to structure that email address. And then just make sure that tickets are getting assigned to them here as a technician. So that is, I think, the easiest way that I can think of. Let me know if you ladies want to add anything else.
I do think when you forward them into the system, you can forward them into the system, and because if they are a current customer, it will match up their email address and it will auto assign to that particular customer as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because it'll recognize that technician's at email address. So as long as
go ahead.
As long as it's their technician email address that they have set up in the account, it'll create it for the customer and not for the technician.
And you can make it attach that email to a particular ticket too, if you want to. On that key that I linked in there, if you'll scroll down, it'll talk about forwarding inbound emails, and you can have like a certain subject be the ticket number, which will also put it in there too.
Super helpful. Thank you.
Awesome. Okay, I'm going to grab this one from Richard. We currently have 3 service vehicles with some inventory items on them. Is there a way in Syncro to say there's a certain number in each vehicle? So I'm going to show you this. I feel like this is a little bit of a speak up, ladies, but there is the ability to go to an inventory item, and whatever it is, there is a location field, so you can create a physical location. The thing is there's not a way to say this is this. There's not, like, you can't separate it with different locations in one item. So like you would essentially have to be like van 1 router, van 2 router, or something like that, and then you could maintain the stock per location. So I feel like that's a little bit of a workaround, but kind of answers your question at the same time. Am I missing anything?
Yeah, I always just tell people to create multiple, clone the product, and then you can clone it without re-entering everything, and then you could just change the physical location. Unfortunately, you can't just drop down and say, oh, we're moving it to this place, but you could change the quantity from one place to another. It just requires a little bit of manual work.
Yep.
Cool. All right, I have a couple questions here. First of all, I see Syncro and unassigned type. What's the unassigned type? And I'm assuming you're referring to assets. If I'm wrong, let me know. Is that how you guys read it as well? Okay, so a Syncro, any device that has the Syncro agent on it is automatically going to be called a Syncro device. Everywhere in Syncro, you can't change that. You can create manual assets, however, and you can choose, it's not just this list. You can absolutely go to modify asset types. You can change, so it might just be unassigned in here, and it just means it's an unmanaged device. So you can do that. You can still create tickets against these. You can still store information, and you can also have custom fields for these different devices. But again, they're just not managed devices. And then I also saw a question about deleting invoices. So if I came in here and I was like, oh, I accidentally created an invoice for Larry, I could go down, I can pull up the customer, or you can of course just pull up your invoices. I can click on any of these different invoices and I can just go to delete it if that's what you're referring to. Just if you accidentally create one, you can just go delete it. So hopefully that helps.
Awesome. Thank you, Brandy. Next question here is from Austin. He says, can you go over the process for linking a package to your website for self-service subscribe? So I'll share my screen what he's referring and show you guys what he's referring to. So specifically how to link your policies to your products within Syncros. If you go over to the assets and RMM section, and then you select view and pricing packages in here, this is where you're going to be able to link your policy and how much you're billing for that policy to the product and service that automatically gets created. So again, for example, if you have like a level 1, level 2, level 3 type of product offering, gold, silver, and platinum, and you're charging a different price based on that level of monitoring, this is where you can edit the pricing for that. Hopefully that helps.
Awesome. I will take a couple of these questions in here that I see. So can I assign a policy to a customer? Really good question. And a lot of people like to group their policies that way. My example of all of my policies is a little messy, but we've got like a good, better, best. And then we have servers, workstations, and then we also have them per customer. An easy way to do this, if they're kind of scattered all throughout right now, you can just go into assets in RMM. You could type in a customer, so I can just type in Larry and I'll search for all of his devices. And then you could just select all of them, go up to manage and change a policy. That's probably the easiest way to do it. Of course, if you're just setting them up for the first time, you could deploy just one particular policy for all of Larry's endpoints if you wanted. But a lot of people do like to group theirs per customer. And you could still do, Larry's servers, Larry's workstations, you can clone and make it easy. But I think just going into assets in RMM and bulk editing those is probably the easiest.
Can everybody hear me? I can't tell if it's my internet.
You're breaking in and out to me.
It's
and you're
my
frozen.
You're frozen now, Crystal. Yeah.
Unless she's just.
She's gone. No.
Maybe she's trying to get back in.
I think she turned her video off. We are not able to hear you, Crystal. I think my internet is doing weird stuff too. We're kind of in the same.
I think everything has been weird. We can go ahead and tackle some of these while Crystal tries to get back online with us. I'll take this question from Matt. We can't find the script to empty the recycling bin in the library. Is there something you need to do to enable it? So just real quickly, it's not just going to pre-populate in your account under your scripts. I've already imported it into mine, but if you do go to that community script library, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. I know it's in our account, so I'm pretty sure it's going to be in all of your guys's as well, but you'll just search for it in here. Once you see it, you'll go in and import into your scripts, but it is called, let me just pull it up and then you can search for it while we're on the line. I've already imported it. Recycling, whoops. There we go. Perfect, clean recycling bin. So this is the one that should be in the community script library. If it's not already in your scripts, I can't remember the 4 or 5 that come bootstrapped in your account.
Mm-hmm. Awesome, thank you, Brandy. Next question here is from Anthony. He says, can the time, I lost it there for a second. I do not see the question anymore. Sorry about that. I'll take this first one up here. It's from Matt. He says, where can you tweak the alerts? For example, RAM monitoring, it is firing a bit too fast for our taste. We would also like to turn off the app crash alert. So let's go ahead and share my screen here and show you guys. So where you're adjusting the settings for your Syncro RMM devices in bulk is actually going to be right within the policies section. So if you head over there, you can choose, we do have some built-in triggers available here for you. So for example, if there are certain things that you do not want to be alerted on as they happen, just make sure you don't select those as triggers in here. And then same thing with, again, whenever you're adjusting the settings, just make sure you turn those off for the ones that you don't want to be alerted on. And then specifically with, I think the app crash alert, didn't have a chance to kind of take a look at this ahead of time, but I'll double check now. If we go over to the notification center, I think this is where you can be alerted on app crashes. Don't see it listed here. So I'll double check on that last one for you. I thought it was in here, but I'm not seeing
I thought it was in the policy.
it.
I think it's one of the first triggers in the policy.
I might have completely missed it. Let's see.
I could be wrong. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I'm back.
Welcome back.
Welcome.
Also, I had to leave and come back, so I can't see any questions in there. So
Oh, okay.
I'll only take the new ones that come in. So go for it.
Sure.
Cool. Are you done with this one?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Perfect. Awesome. Thanks, Tatiana. I will just share my screen real quickly. Someone asked about using the PowerShell module to add time in a ticket. So if I go into my scripts here, any of the scripts that you go ahead and import from the community script library, or any scripts that you create or that are already in here, you can edit them. You can also just go to create a new script. If you scroll down to the bottom, we have a PowerShell module. So things like logging 30 minutes of time in a ticket. And I always tell people a good way to use this is to take any of your scripts in here, because every time you clean temp files, you might not want to log 30 minutes of time in a ticket. But for some of those automated remediations, you might. So you could just clone your clean temp file script or any other script that you occasionally want to log 30 minutes of time and just call it, clean temp files plus 30. And then you could use that in your automated remediations. So hopefully that helps.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay. Next question here is from Anthony. Can the time run to ticket automation be configurable? If you have a 2 to 4 hour response for high value customers and a ticket comes in and it can take up to 1+ hours to auto assign to a tech, and that eats up into the response time. So currently that is not configurable. I don't think you can have it run. It won't run immediately. It runs, I believe, once an hour, but not exactly right on the hour. So I can definitely pass that along as a feature request.
Perfect. And then SMS messaging, you get 200 a month in your account, so you can use those at your disposal. Don't quote me on this price. I think you get 25 additional for $30. I'm not 100% sure on that. Is that right?
2,500.
2,500.
Yeah. Is that not what I said?
I just heard 25.
Same.
Oh, I think I cut out. I said 2,500. Yeah, 2,500 for $30. That would be terrible. That would be terrible. No, 2,500.
We have another request here from Mike. He says, when is Syncro going to set up a merch store? I need that hoodie. Yes, I will send this screenshot to our marketing team. We tell them every single day, literally every day.
We do.
Like, please.
I should have worn mine today.
It's rosy.
Yeah, it is.
But it is.
Does everyone else see the clean the recycling bin script? I just want to make sure. I know it's in our account, but Matt isn't seeing it in his. So if you guys wouldn't mind, or you probably know off the top of your head if you saw it in the community script library or it came bootstrapped in your account, if you would let us know, that would be awesome. No, it looks like they don't have it. Well, it doesn't say internal, so that's interesting to me. Yeah, let me look into that.
I'm going to attempt to answer one. And if I cut out, just like move on. And it's like, I think obviously everybody's at home and everyone's streaming everything. And so, sorry if I cut out. I was going to grab this one from Robert. Can you go over the communications under tickets, specifically the drop down list of statuses, update, issue, etc.? Really good question. We actually just made a huge update to this. So I'm just going to grab a ticket here. And let's see, I'll just grab any of them. Because what we did is we actually cleaned up the amount of click times here. So here's your communications. Now, what I have available right now is an email, which is obviously going to email whatever you see the email address is that's down here. Private note's going to be totally internal only. You have a public note that is like, you can have public notes automatically email the customer as well, but if they like logged into their portal, they'd be able to see that. Obviously all the technicians would be able to see that as well. You can enable text messaging. Once you do that, you would have the ability to text from this drop down as well. But what's really nice is that now what we've done is, in the past, what you'd have to do is you could email your customer an update and you'd only have the option to email. But now you can email and update the ticket at the same time. So if this email is that you're waiting for them, you can send the email and put that into a specific status. The reason that this is so important, not only because it saves your time with extra click times, but so many of the ticket automation possibilities have to do with the ticket status. And so this is just a nice way, like if you want a specific automation to fire, this is just one click closer to being able to do that in one fell swoop. Hopefully that helps. There's also a new ticket communications report as well, which is pretty sweet.
Someone asked if Syncro would be able to mark SMS as spam anytime soon. We're getting spam SMS and we'd like a way to block them. So I actually just am asking my support team. They're verifying now that it's not possible. And if it's not possible to mark them as spam, then we will absolutely submit that as a feature request for you.
Awesome. I'll grab a couple here. Some of these are going to be feature requests, but I just wanted to make sure to address them. So the first one here is from John. I think he's just following up on what he was trying to explain earlier to you, Crystal. He says, when logging into the website, I want the cursor to be in the email field so I don't have to use my mouse. So makes sense. So I'll definitely pass that along. And then another one here is from Rolf. I believe that's how you pronounce it. I apologize if I'm saying that incorrectly. He says, is there a way to run a script in the ticket automations, or could that be added so the script runs on assets that have been added to the ticket? So really good feature request. I'll show you guys what he's talking about. So currently within ticket automations, you can, these are the ones that I mentioned, they run once an hour, not exactly on the hour, but in here, as you can see, you can post to Slack, you can post to Teams. So like if these conditions are met, you have responses to how you want Syncro to respond to those. So in here built in, currently there isn't a way to send or create a script and have the script run in response to that. You do have obviously automated remediation, which is separate from that. So I think the ladies already showed a couple different versions of setting up different automated remediations, but I'll just show you kind of how to get there again. This is where you can specify a custom RMM alert and then tell Syncro you want it to respond in a script, and you can also convert it into a ticket and assign it to the tech right in the same section here. Hopefully that helps.
I was just going to answer for Chuck. We do record these and we will post these on our YouTube channel. And I think I just saw Brandy put that into the chat box too. So, yep.
It's usually a couple days. It might be Monday or Tuesday when they post today's, but yeah, if there's a certain question too, let us know. We can get it to you sooner.
While I'm unmuted, I'll just answer this one really quick. Is there the ability to block remote user input when in Syncro Live? No, not right now. It doesn't block them.
Daniel, oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Daniel just asked if there was a tree view planned for the assets to have a better overview. It's definitely been something that's requested, so we'll happily pass that along. I can see how that would be very, very useful.
Question here from Richard. He says, what is the best way to count my physical inventory to make sure it matches what I have in Syncro? So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. I don't show this feature a ton, so I will kind of explain what I was able to find for you. So if you go over to your admin section, scroll down kind of towards the bottom under the inventory, you do have the stock take section here. And so this is where you're able to build kind of the things that you're looking to pull from your inventory and make sure that it's going to be matching. And then I'll go ahead and send you this knowledge base article on this as well.
I'll grab this one. I actually don't know if I have the answer, so maybe you gals do. I thought it says, I thought there was a setting for SMS enabled customers to not send SMS on ticket creation, but can't find it. I just send SMS on completion. I know there's like there absolutely is a setting in ticket preferences where if you don't want to email them the initial comment, but I don't think that has anything to do with text messaging. So so I don't think you're missing anything. I just don't think it's there. So if you wanted it to do that, because we added send SMS to ticket automations, right? So if you only wanted it to send once the ticket was resolved, you could do it that way, correct? That's kind of what I'm thinking. If you wanted it to be automated anyway. What's next?
Let's see here.
I'll just take this top one. I think it's going to be a feature request. Anthony, he says, another great help would be the ability to use push notifications for multi-factor authentication. So instead of inputting a code, just click yes to log in on the phone, Apple Watch, etc., etc. Yes, definitely can see how that could be a huge time saver for you guys. So I will pass that along. I don't think that's currently available through any of the authentication apps that we have.
There's a question about custom fields per ticket, so I'm just going to pull up custom fields real quickly. Let me just pull this up, then I'm going to, oh, my mouse is going crazy. Okay, here we go. Let me go down to ticket custom fields. And then, so you can absolutely have more than one custom field, but you're going to have like a field type, and then from within there you would have multiple fields. So someone asked if you could have multiple fields per ticket. You absolutely can. You just have to have like a main name. So for example, you're going to work on a virus removal ticket. Okay, here you go. You could have multiple different fields from within here. So if that's what you're referring to, you can absolutely have multiple fields here. You just basically have like a template name for them, if you will.
Awesome. I'm going to grab this one from Robert. I've had a few situations where a client will email us via their personal email, business owner, after hours. The lead will come in and we convert it to a ticket. Is there a way to add a secondary email for contacts, or would it make more sense to just mandate the client email us using their work email? A few things. I mean, you can always take a ticket. If it comes in and you convert it to a ticket, you can then assign it to the actual customer's contact. Use case to use email rules, because what you could do is obviously like gmail.com would not be like a domain type of situation that you could use, but I wonder, do you guys know do email rules, if I created an email rule for Larry, oh, I don't want to do it there. If I created an email rule, can you use a specific email address? Like, could you make a rule based upon a specific email address?
Yes.
You can.
Like, you mean for like, if you got an email from this particular email address, it's going to do this?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, oh, okay. I was thinking, for some reason, I was thinking this just said domain. So you
can make it a domain, or you can make it a specific email address.
Yeah, if that person in the company, or if this happens often, you could just make an email rule and put their personal email address here, so it automatically knows to attach to the proper customer. So I think that would probably be the best way because I don't think you can't add multiple email addresses to a contact. So I think this would be a way to achieve this without having to manually do anything.
Next question is from Jeremy. I'm kind of trying to test this on the fly, so I'll go ahead and just share my screen. Hopefully we'll be able to answer your question. So he says, possible bug, am I doing something wrong? If in the new ticket screen, if I type in the name of a contact at a company that is the primary contact in the dropdown, for the asset selection, it continues to show all of the company assets. So I'm guessing this is not the place because I just tried to create a fake contact here and it's not listed under the customer's name. So I'm guessing this is not the specific screen you're referring to. I'm thinking it's when you create the ticket in here in order to be able to pull in the contact. Again, I'm not exactly sure because I just created this fake one and I don't see a different way to type that in. So I don't know how to answer this question. You send a little bit more details and then you say, however, in the ticket details screen, if I type in their name, it only shows assets assigned associated to that user. So I think we might either have our tickets set up differently because I don't see a way to type in the assigned customer contact in here. Mine is a drop-down menu. So we just might have those setups differently.
When you go one step further and actually create the ticket, I wonder if it's once the ticket's actually created, if you try to like add a contact.
Oh, okay, got it. Yeah, let's try that. So we'll go ahead and create a brand new ticket here. And create ticket. Okay. And so in here, yeah, again, it's a drop-down menu for me.
Yeah. Quick like screenshot video and send it into technical support would be really awesome.
Cool. Got a question here from George. Just started using tickets. What actually gets shown on the customer invoice? Labor notes, public notes, etc. Let me just share my screen real quickly. I just created a ticket real quickly and put in a few different notes to show you the differences here. So this is the invoice that I created. This, I just want to let you know, I added these notes right here. Hi there, testing this for George. I added that just by clicking view log in the ticket and entering notes there. This was a public note I used, and then this one was a private note. So anything that you write in the private note section, it's going to say see tech notes, regardless of whatever you put in there. The customer will never see that, but you will be able to view the notes. You can, of course, change your ticket templates to show different fields. You can edit those in the admin section. If you go to PDF and email templates, you can have different templates for different customers if you want to for invoices, but this is just how we have it designed, and your notes will absolutely show, and then any public notes as well.
Awesome. I'm gonna grab a few here. Feature requests. Next field when entering. Cool. I love the updates to just the UX to streamline things. So definitely we'll pass that along. And then from Peter, if we have all of our client users' emails in contacts, can we set up Syncro so that new tickets from emails have an associated user flagged so we know they are not in the system yet? So this is actually kind of cool, and this goes into email rules that I was just on. So I'm going to share my screen again. I don't necessarily, I don't think you get notified on this, but if you set up an email rule with their domain, you absolutely can have it auto create that contact, so you don't have to go in and do it. I don't think it's going to flag it in any way that that's a new contact. That part of it might be somewhat of a feature request, but you can have it automatically do that for you. So hopefully that helps. And if I missed anything, just let me know.
Cool. Yeah. Go ahead.
I have a question here from Austin. He says, can you go through a sign up for this? So Austin, I don't remember which question that was in reference to. If you're asking on how to sign up for Syncro, You can get a free trial. It's just at syncromsp.com. So
No, I think he's referring to, he asked the question about the sign-up flow, subscription flow.
Oh, subscription flow. Yep. So yeah, I can definitely show you how to use that. Currently, this isn't something that we talk about a ton, just because there's a couple things that I think people are looking for in added functionality that we would be looking to ship before we kind of brag about this feature, but the base of the functionality is there. So I'll show you just for kind of a little bit of a background. Every time you guys create a policy, it's going to automatically create a product and service for you. And the reason for that being is when you are setting up your recurring invoices, you're able to bill based off of a policy. And so that's when you're billing off of the RMM package. That's literally in your list of policies. Again, as an example, I always mention this one. If you have like a good, better, and best type of product offering and you're charging 10, 20, 30 bucks there, how you tie that cost into this policy is through those pricing packages that I was showing you previously. So if we go back to the assets in RMM section, you go under view and pricing packages. This is where you kind of tie the policy and the pricing together. And so once you've set the pricing up in the way that you need to at whatever cost you determine is you want to sell the service at, if you click edit description, this is going to give you a live link to the different product offerings that you have. So I'll go ahead and copy this one, and we'll go ahead and create this as a separate one, except I'm going to take out the package ID. Let me see if that'll work. I haven't done this in a while, a little rusty. Or I think you might have to take out, nope, yeah. So if you just leave package ID there in the URL, it'll give you all the available options that you might want to offer your customers. So here I have every single policy available for them to choose from. If you want to just sell silver, gold, and platinum, I think there is a way to restrict that. And then again, your customer can go here, make a selection. It would ask for their information, and then it would allow them to download the agent, and then it would also create a recurring invoice for you automatically. It would not ask, I don't think it asks for their payment information right away. But again, I would just kind of test that. It's something I think that's more in the works, but at least that should hopefully be helpful to get you started.
Perfect. I have a couple I'll just go ahead and tackle real quickly. They all disappear. Okay, is there a place where we can see listed feature requests and see how many people voted or supported? Not currently, we don't have a public facing list of feature requests, but while we're there, I would highly suggest your feature requests be emailed to help@syncromsp.com. It's definitely, we take your feature requests and we absolutely pass them along every Friday, but it's just nice to have it logged somewhere else, and also say the reason why you would like that, how it would help your business. That would be really, really helpful. So I would do that. I also see a feature request for can assets associate with a contact show in the contact screen. Gotcha. So I can see that. Then you would be able to see that in the contact screen to see a list of their assets. I like that as well. And then I see a question about adding a screenshot to the ticket. So I'm just going to share my screen real quickly. And let me go into Syncro Live here. So if they are creating a ticket from their system tray icon, you guys can build this menu option out, but there is an option for them to include an image of their screen. It's going to screen capture and it'll add as an attachment into the ticket. The customer is not able to, go add a different attachment. It's just going to take a screen capture of their screen now. If you're looking for something where they can go and actually add an attachment, they're not able to do so that I'm aware of. But this is probably the easiest way to do that. So hopefully that helps.
Awesome. Next one here is from Carl. This one's pretty intricate, so just kind of hang with me here. He says, I've gone through the videos and did some testing with your dynamic counter for billing. I get where this is headed, but what we're looking for is named user billing, where instead of aggregating license and MSP services, it does the opposite. I want each asset name if removed from billing unchecked on their invoice. They essentially want to bill for all assets, one line at a time, and contacts by name. So go ahead and share my screen and show you what he is referring to. So currently within Syncro, on our recurring invoices, you have you all know we have these dynamic counters built in that help you be as efficient as possible and automate your billing as much as possible. So I'll show you what he's referring to. Whoops, not that one. If we go over to the recurring invoice, I have set up here. I'll show you the different types of line items you can add. So again, if you're using the asset and RMM counter or the customer contact counter, what Syncro will do is dynamically pick up how many endpoints are being monitored if you're billing on a per endpoint basis, and add that to the invoice for you and accurately keep it up to date so that you're not leaving any money on the table. It's always going to make sure that it's actually charging how many endpoints you're monitoring, again, since they're being monitored within Syncro. Same thing with if you're billing on a per contact basis. It will list how many contacts are listed under this customer's profile and make sure that's always accurately up to date. So what he's asking for right now, it's showing 8 endpoints are being monitored, 6 contacts are charged for. And so currently that would be a feature request. So I went and I found the actual PDF version of this invoice that we bill, and I kind of went and took a closer look, and it looks like, yep, per workstation billing, it was 7 at that point, or per contact. It'll list like a total amount. So I guess from here you could add the names in there once the invoice is generated. Again, that would be more of a manual setup. So I'll definitely pass that along as a feature request. I can see how that can be useful for you.
Awesome. Thanks. I'm going to grab a few here. I realize we're 10 minutes. Holy, this hour goes by so fast. Okay, Jesse, what was the answer to my ACH question? Can the customer enter their info? So if you have WorldPay set up and they have access to their customer portal, and you make sure like that there's one setting to just make sure that this is not selected, then they should be able to log into their portal and manage their payment information from there. So if you're not seeing that, definitely I think it might be submit ticket time, because they should be able to do that if everything's set up. And then from George, ability to show black screen on remote desktop, privacy when working on a machine. You definitely cannot do that with Syncro Live. However, I don't know, maybe someone else does know, if any of the third-party tools we integrate with does allow that. Splashtop, Screen Connect, or TeamViewer. Syncro Live does not. Let's see, what was the other one I was going to grab really quick? Is it possible to have a ticket alert created when a non-computer or it keeps moving? Where did it go? Anyways, I'm going to answer your question. So I think the answer here, if we go to assets and RMM, I'm going to go to am I still here, guys?
Barely.
Gosh. Okay. I'll try to do this, but it's in system check. So if I'm cutting out and no one can hear me, you do this. Ping or web server, enter the remote host information. You can ping something on the network there, and this will create an alert for you. And then you can set up an automation and have a ticket created as well.
Perfect. Awesome. Question here from John. He says, if you delete an accidental invoice, does it put the charges back into the cart and allow them to be put on an intentional invoice? Yes, it does. Yep. I'll show you guys real quick what he's, Crystal, do you mind if I share my screen? Oh, perfect. Thank you so much. So basically what he's asking for is if for example, I'm billing this monthly MSP fee and whoops, I actually didn't mean to bill it on this invoice. If you delete this, it should pop back into your pending ticket charges in here, and then you would be able to add that on a separate one.
Perfect.
Once you get it to load, but yes, it does work that way.
All right, I have a couple in here. We only have 7 minutes, so I'll try to. So Ari's asking, can you go over how Syncro decides if an inbound email is a lead or a ticket? So I know we shared this already and it might be a little bit repetitive, but in your mailbox, when you go to edit that, you'll have to choose here if you always want to create tickets from an email to this mailbox. If they're only existing customers, that might be where you want to do it, because it might be creating leads or might be creating tickets for people who are not existing customers. So this isn't in a mailbox rule. This is just in your mailbox. So you'll want to go ahead and do that there. And then I also have someone who's asking about, can you bundle like an RMM count for servers and workstations and policy and all of those things in one line item? You're not able to do it in one line item in a recurring invoice. You can absolutely add a counter. You could have an RMM counter for servers, and then you could have one for workstations, and then you could have one for just your total RMM count, things like that. These are dynamic counters, but they are going to show up as separate line items here. You can bundle products, but that's not going to be part of the of this here.
Yeah, and I think one workaround is to just, instead of doing the bundle, like you could still have a dynamic counter. Like if the dynamic counter would make sense, that if it was like all workstations, for example, and then you're offering all those, you could just list them in the description so that it looks like a bundle to the customer, but it's not actually a bundle on the back end.
Yep, good point.
Question here from someone. The question is, we use QuickBooks Online for sending invoices to customers, as well as tracking who has looked at them and ultimately who has paid. Does or can the invoice status in QuickBooks Online sync back to Syncro? So I know for a fact that invoices that are marked as paid on the QuickBooks side will sync back and mark the invoice as paid in Syncro. I don't think it will send the status of like when it was, if the invoice was sent or anything like that, but when you accept payments, those will for sure.
I'm just answering some of yours and sending privately so that we can get through all of your questions.
Oh, awesome. Thank you.
Screen Connect does blackout, someone said. So multiple people said that.
Cool. Robert has a contact for a customer who has been placed on the board of another customer. What's the best way to add that contact for both companies? Actually, contacts can be added to more than one customer. I don't actually know if they have the exact same email. I don't know when they create a ticket which customer we decide that goes to. I don't actually know the answer to that question, but I know that contacts can be like you can have multiple contacts with the same email on different customers.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This one is interesting. I'll take a shot here. Question is from someone, doesn't say the name. We are missing a way or a report to identify tickets with billable labor time on them. When we look at any of the current views or run any of the current ticket reports, we can only get or see all tickets in a period. The problem is that we have many non-billable ticket entries due to the automated stuff that gets created. It creates tickets as non-billable and closes the ticket again. This makes it next to impossible for us to manually look through reports to find what's billable. The one that I'll show you, maybe you haven't seen yet, and hopefully this will be helpful to you. We do have a ticket time by technician. I think that's the ticket time by technician report that I think is going to be useful to you. So again, you currently can't filter by billable versus non-billable to show there. But if you go into the reports, here it is. You can search this again with the date range that you select, and this is going to list by technician, and it'll show what is billed or not. So I'm curious, I haven't tested exporting it to a CSV, but I feel like this will show, you can kind of filter them out that way. I don't know if that would be helpful to you, but at least you can say, yes, this one is billed. Okay, let's go ahead and look at the ticket and kind of review them that way. Hopefully that's helpful to you.
Jason real quickly said there's no methods exposed for script manipulation. Are there plans to expose script manipulation available via API? I have no idea, to be honest. I don't know if you guys do or not, but that might be a question for support. And I guess what exactly are you trying to do with the scripts too would be a good question.
I know we do have some updates to the API coming, so I would reach out to see if that's something that's going to be listed there. We have so many questions left.
I know.
minute.
And I have a demo right at 10. I'm sorry.
Okay, no, yeah, you can definitely head right out. I was just gonna grab, just because this one might be helpful for everyone. We have a customer with multiple location that tracks costs based upon the location. Is there a way to break up invoices by each location, both tickets and recurring asset billing? So the in Syncro general rule of thumb, if you have to bill separately, you build separate customers for each location. We do have obviously sites and locations, and you can assign those to main customers, and that makes sense if you're billing them all at one time. If you have to bill separately, they would need to be separated as different customers.
Mm-hmm. Question here from Josh. He says, good afternoon. All of my alerts come in with the same subject, RMM alert. Is there a way to add any other information to that subject or customize it? Currently, feature requests, definitely pass that along. You can customize when you set up your automated remediation and you have a custom RMM alert that filters in and it creates a ticket for you. You can obviously customize that subject there. But currently, those RMM alerts that are just triggers in the notification center, those will come in just as RMM alert. I'll pass that along for you though.
Oh goodness. Okay, Brandy, I know you've got to go. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks, guys. Have a good Friday. Have a great weekend.
Bye, Brandy. Bye. Tatiana, do you want to grab any of these additional ones?
Yeah, the question from Daniel on the Malwarebytes version, I believe it's listed in the knowledge base article. So if you search for Malwarebytes in the KB, I think it'll be listed there. I don't remember exactly which version it is, but we do have an integration with Malwarebytes. Let's see.
Evan wants to know, would there be a way to send a follow-up report with each user or asset automatically? And so one thing, obviously, you could send a ticket automation. The other thing is to set up Mailer and have it be an automated trigger. So head over to Mailer, do your custom, there might actually already be one predefined in there, but you can send an email right away after the ticket's been completed, like the day after, to check up and that kind of thing, or you can have it be a specific day after the ticket has been closed. So either that or ticket automations is the best way to have that automated. Also, all of our, well, not all of our, I'm going to repeat or take that back. It's not all, but so many of our reports in the report section, you can schedule those. So if you just want to schedule them a recap of all of their tickets on a weekly basis or monthly basis, you can run that report and then schedule it. So I would recommend doing that as well. Holy moly. Okay. Most important question, what is Syncro's mascot octopus name? Octo?
We do.
I think it's Octo.
We call it Octo.
Okay, for anybody that we did not get to your questions, I am so sorry. Please, your point of contact is either me, Tatiana, or Brandy. So.
Yep. Uh-oh, Crystal's frozen. Oh, she's back. There we go. What an adventurous open office hours today.
Yes, email your point of contact. It's just either Crystal, Tatiana, or Brandy at syncromsp.com. If you don't know, shoot me an email and I'll tell you who your point of contact is. And please join us next week. We'll have a deep dive and have a lovely Friday, amazing weekend. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.